For the zoning administrator report, I'll just know.
Well, that came from the board. Yeah, you could do that. You didn't send it to me. Oh, okay. I didn't. I think Heidi might.
Okay, so I'll say do a highlight, I'll say, in addition to the report included the handout.
Yeah. And I'm gonna try to share all that. As many as they talk about. Anything sound package, share. That's why we. Oh, you don't have an extra copy of the GFA?
I made,
You mean like this? Oh, yeah, you got extra ones.
yes, there, yeah.
Just so you know, well, that's okay.
It's the color one.
You get.
Ah, well, I thought I made that one for Wallace.
Yeah, see, you want the colored ones, that one?
Yeah.
This makes it easier for me to make copies of.
Yeah, right. What is that out of?
Very nice.
Just information on tiny homes and if they have to be zoned.
What newspaper?
Traverse City Business. That's what legal was at the top, but it's part of the regular paper.
Oh.
So it relates directly.
Will you take the, you're gonna take the.
No, we'll do it. Yeah.
That's fine. I know. Good.
I think she put you on the end there. That work for you?
Steve. I was between Yellowstone and Grand Teton.
This is the
Well, actually,
recreation.
yeah, my son was. We went to Whitewater City to see Dale. Yellowstone, West Yellowstone.
Yeah, that's what it is. Traverse City Business News, but it's their.
Kathy's Crown.
It's their like quarterly. What do they do that, like once every?
She said, well, I'm good. I won't shoot. I
7, 8
just,
months?
no, we're not gonna risk that. We're going. Yeah.
Traverse City Business News, I get every month.
Is it every month? It's not this. 1 minute to go.
Yeah.
Outside of
It's sure. Yes, girl. It's 7 o'clock, so let's get the party started. We do a quick mic check. Check, check. Check. This meeting's to order at 7 p.m. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God,
Roll call when ready.
Steelman,
Here.
Keaton,
Here.
Jacobson,
Here.
Robo,
Here.
DeYoung,
Here.
Ramos.
Here. Thank you. Set adjust meeting agenda. I had one addition that I forgot to include, which was kind of a carryover from the last meeting about payment for subcommittee members. So I was hoping we could add that under unfinished business. I don't mind where, I guess it could be.
Short discussion, making sure everybody's on the same page.
Yeah, so maybe just last under unfinished business, so it'd be unfinished business. Is that okay? Anybody disagree? Anything else? Anybody else want to just add? Okay. Declaration of conflict of interest pertinent to the agenda items. None? Okay. We'll go into public comment then. So any person shall be permitted to address a meeting of the PC. Public comments shall be carried out in accordance with the following rules and procedures. Comments shall be directed to the PC with questions directed to the chair. Any person wishing to address the PC shall speak from the lectern or use the raise hand feature on Zoom and state your name and your address. Persons may address the PC on matters that are relevant to township planning and zoning issues. No person shall be allowed to speak more than once on the same matter, excluding the need to answer a PC's question. Public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes per person. I'll start in town hall. None, so we'll go to.
Hold on, you just have a new party walking in. Any public comments, Denise?
Okay, so off to Zoom we go.
No hands raised.
No hands raised.
All right, well, look at us zoom on. We don't have a public hearing tonight. So we need to approve or adjust, update the minutes from the ROS meeting July 6th and the regular meeting July 12th.
So nobody wanted to say anything on Zoom?
There's no hands up. Any updates, corrections? I only found one.
I did have found the spell wrong on the regular meeting minutes under
Continuing education.
So that's actually already been fixed in the draft minutes.
Awesome. Thank you.
Anything else? Look at you, Mike. You usually find
I
our
usually
stuff.
find the misspelling of my name. I said to Lois, I said, oh, Mike will find it.
Yes,
All right. Then do we want to make a motion to accept both of these minutes as amended with the spelling there? Somebody want to make that motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Roll call when ready.
Keaton,
Yes.
Jacobson,
yes.
Robo,
Yes.
Steelman,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes.
Ramos.
Yes.
Okay, so next is correspondence, and in the packet, there is a piece of correspondence and email that's included, and then the one that's not included that I received after the packet creation is the one that I will read and also share on Zoom so everybody can see it. Hold on, I gotta remember how to do it. Okay. So this is a request from Rod Reban. He sent it on the 30th of July. It's based on my review of the 2 responses that were submitted to our planning commission. My recommendation is to select LIAA or LEA as the preferred vendor. As the leading supplier for our project, it is important to negotiate the specific deliverables that Whitewater Township expects from LEA during this engagement that are listed on page 3. Networks Northwest falls short of my expectations for this project phase on several points. I have found it frustrating to work with the current leadership in meeting simple requirements such as contract delivery. I am also very concerned with the availability of Networks Northwest resources to support our project. The resource bench seems very thin. The RFP response does not list the names of the individuals who would work with us and does not identify the level of experience their team will bring to the project. I did expect an RFP response to highlight the respective skills and qualifications to meet our needs. However, Networks Northwest used a boilerplate response and failed to adequately meet the basic requirements of our RFP. I am very concerned that Networks Northwest states that they can deliver our requirements for less than $4,000. We paid them $3,000 to do the online data collection and paper survey tabulation. Something is very wrong with how they propose to support our project. Could Networks Northwest do the job? Probably, maybe. We would fall short of my expectations, and it would be hard to manage the relationship with this firm. Would we be satisfied with the final product? No, my belief is that facilitation is not their strong suit, and we cannot afford to risk our project with an unknown level of facilitation, depth, and experience. Land Information Access Association, LEA, meets and exceeds my expectations for our project. And I found that during our meeting with Executive Director Matt Cowell and Community Planner Barry Hicks, possess a strong set of community support services and planning experience. Both Barry and Matt would be engaged with within our project and would serve as the core members of the LEA services to Whitewater Township. With the addition of GIS specialist Paul Reese, I envision a level of geographic and visual presentation services specific to our project that can help us differentiate the unique farming, forestry, and waterways that exist within our township. Managing these diverse natural resources needs experienced planners who understand the complexities and regulatory demands. As I review the financials, LEA is roughly 5 times the cost of Networks Northwest. However, I'm impressed that LEA has proposed 3 tasks totaling $18,230. They clarify the number of hours required to deliver the task and what will be delivered. The actual rate is $70 per hour for very experienced professionals. The deliverables are very clear, and in task number 3, LEA presents the facilitated findings to Whitewater Township. This was not a deliverable within Networks Northwest proposal. I believe we need experienced planners who have successfully delivered projects that scale well with our needs. My recommendation is 100% to select LEA as our partner with this project. And then he goes into some contract recommendations, which I will leave up on my screen. Everybody here has a copy. I don't know that I need to read those. If somebody wants me to, I will. You think I should go read it or no? No. Okay, so I'll leave it up on. I won't stop sharing here for a couple minutes so that folks online can read it. And you have it there. So that is all I have for correspondence. So we will move into reports, presentations, and announcements. Zoning Administrator Bob Hall did not give me something. I know there's something in the Township Board packet that kind of relates to us that Heidi will talk about, but I didn't have anything specifically submitted to me for this packet. I don't have anything for my report other than I want to thank Keith for learning and doing Zoom for us so that we can offer that. So thank you. And the rest of the stuff we'll talk about that's in the packet. So now I'll hand it over to Heidi, and then you wanted me to share.
Yeah. Okay, guys. I took last 6 board meetings and the last PC meetings and evaluated them from I'm going to just tell you the truth, from a responder part of it. Okay, in responding, we look at a plan, we pick apart the plan, and we try to figure out why either we're failing, kind of failing, or just not getting our solution or directive satisfied for a goal. So good leaders put the responsibility on their back. It's probably my fault for not noticing it sooner. I'm a big girl, I'll take the hit for that. But in the future, moving forward, I need this team and everyone at this table to read the board packet too. And I know it's a pain in the butt. And I know some of it has nothing pertaining to anything that you have to research. So I've come up with a different plan so that you don't have to read 300 and some pages. Because the packet comes out in time before our meeting, I'll be able to pick it apart, pull out the parts that are precedent or that we need to look at. And all I'm asking you is check my work. So you need to read it too. That's all I'm asking. Now, I've gone one step further. I gave you, the first page I gave you was my trustee report. If you read in that report, I'm asking everybody to read the master plan, chapters 1 through 4. I'm gonna use my planning report as an advertisement for what we're doing. And so that everybody out there can see what we need them to see. Now, I'm not guaranteeing everybody's going to read it, but I will read my report. I would take input from any member at this table to include in my report. But you have to remember that you can't think about it after my meeting. I need it before my meeting and at least 24 hours before if you want me to interject something. I also gave you the supervisor's report. There's some things in his report that you might want to know.
Which page was that?
That's page 7 and 8. Then you get to page 17, which is the zoning administrator's report. I've been asking him to report things in different ways and give us some information so we know what is possibly coming down the pike, so that we know what we should be researching beforehand, so that when something's coming to our table, we at least have already started an investigation. Makes sense? I mean, we have to communicate to the board has to communicate to us, and for some reason, we've been almost like in head-on crashes. So I'm trying to eliminate the head-on crashes. So the final part, and here's the big one, people, you got to go to page 197. Now, there's a couple pages in here that got stuck in here that you really don't, you can just bypass. But some of it you need to know. I don't know if you want to read about fireman helmets, but that's stuck into the middle of this, but I put the master plan on the agenda. So I also brought up the fact that we need to do something about, code enforcement and ordinance 51. That's in here too. So does anybody have any other ideas? Come on, out of the box here. I don't care. I just want to make sure that the information is not getting tarnished or pot stirred or whatever between us and them. And I'm going to try to monitor it so that it doesn't happen.
I really like the idea of you pulling out the pertinent pieces to us and sharing that with us here, and then vice versa to them. I think that's a really good, helpful situation, because you're right, I don't have time to read 300.
And some of it's not pertaining to what you
Right.
guys are doing. So, but at the end of the day, we have to stop the telephone game that's being created here, because it's creating issues that now cause deadlines not to be met. So at the end of the day, if anybody sees anything, like we used to say in response, if you're stepping in it, you better say something. Anybody else have any ideas? Because does this help you at all? Because this takes me a lot of time to do, and I don't want to waste my time. But I also want to fix the problem. So does anybody else?
Let me weigh in for a moment on
Go ahead.
the issues with reviewing the first 4 chapters. The first 4 chapters are really a description of the township. It's not really the meat of the plan yet. We're really describing what is, what was, some trends. That's what I get when I work in my office for a few hours a day and do stuff. This community better than I do. And if you should look at this and see both the planning commission and the town board and make any comments about what's missing. I've had some meetings with several planning commission members so far, and I've got some good feedback. I'm making edits. This is your planning document. It's not mine. I mean, I'm here trying to produce this and put this in front of you so that you can see, yeah, does this make sense? No, it doesn't. We need more of this, less of that, whatever. So we have this time right now before we get into some of the meat of the plan to clean this up, or not clean up, but to make it stronger. And so that's what we're trying to do.
I'd like to ask everybody at this table, when you evaluate a plan and you write a plan, history is your most important element in that plan because you don't want to go backwards and make the same mistakes. And you don't want, in response land, you make a mistake, someone could get killed. We're writing a plan to help grow and prosper our community. So at the end of the day, is history important? I'd like to hear everybody. Is history important, Carl?
Yes.
Is history important?
Yes.
Why? I'd like to know why, because I'm getting phone calls and some people don't think the history is important. I think it's very important because you have to understand why we are sitting here like this today, and you have to go back and look at the history to see why. Unless you're going to call Michael and ask him, you know, pick his brain for 6 hours. But history seems to be a problem for some people, and I don't understand why.
Are you referencing it's a problem for somebody at this table?
No,
Or-
I
okay.
just in a whole, it's,
Okay.
I'm sending this out to people to, you know, read and get their opinions. I get a lot of people push, why you gotta put the history in there? That drives pretty much everything, but okay.
Yeah, it's
What
kind
am
of
I
a- it's-
missing?
It's
It's
where we
9
were,
pages.
where we are, and where we're going.
It's 9 pages.
It's not only that, but if you don't start where are you gonna start? What we wanna do? Is that where we should start then?
Yeah, we're not taking the history out of it. I mean, people have their own opinions and that's up to them, but we're not advocating taking it out.
No.
I'm not either, but I'm still trying to balance the comments of why they think it's waste.
And you can't help what some people comment. It's.
Yeah.
their
Yeah,
opinion,
it's gonna
so.
be there.
If it
You can
wasn't-
never please everybody.
Well, I know
We're never
that,
gonna
but
please
here's
everybody,
the
and-
problem, Michael, it's more than 10 people that made those comments. So at the end of the day, I look at it as, okay, what are I'm missing here? But it looks to me that they're missing more of the point than
Do you think that it's enough people to warrant it to be a discussion at a workshop or something, or is that, I mean,
don't know. I don't know. 'Cause the kickback is, why would I have to read it? It's just history.
Well, that's not part of the master plan's layout, so I don't think that's an option. I think we just keep moving forward with what we're supposed to do, what we're
Right,
doing, and just keep
exactly.
moving forward, realizing that we're not gonna make everybody
Warm and fuzzy.
happy, so let's just keep moving forward like we are and be done with it.
any other thoughts on that before we move on? Any?
I mean, how do you, Rachel, you haven't lived throughout your life?
No, not in
So-
Williamsburg, no.
All right, so when you read that history part,
I learned a lot. I thought it was very
learned
interesting.
a lot too.
Yeah.
It was very interesting, but I haven't lived through all my life either.
Okay.
That's my feedback, but is this how you want me to proceed with information to you?
I like it.
I'm missing anything. But please, you gotta help me here too, because the majority of what the board does, you gotta know they're doing.
Well, it'll be
So-
really helpful for you to share the pieces of it that are really pertinent to us and specifically pull that out for us and hand it to us. you
I know it's an inconvenience, Al, I really do. I can see it on your face, but at the end of the day, there's little bits and pieces that you need to know.
Don't criticize me, Heidi.
I'm not criticizing you because you know what? I don't like.
And don't make opinions about what I'm
Okay.
thinking.
All right. But I don't wish anybody to read 300 and some pages.
I
All
think
right.
when you talk about history, it's not just the history of the township, but we need is how did we get where we are today? Because I can give you an example where we had to turn a guy down on a variance request on Supply Road. It's 150 feet. Why? We don't know why anymore. So we need to do a better job when we're doing variances or when we're doing zoning. Explain why did we put these things into effect? Somebody told me, was it you, that it was, they wanted to make it a beautification highway or something?
Yeah.
Well, who did that and why? You know, my only subject is, well, if people want to change it, come and
That's
tell us you
something
want
that-
to change.
That's something that would be great. to have
These are the
history,
things we need to know where we are today
'cause I
and
don't-
where we're going. Do the same conditions
Exists today.
exist, or has our population changed? Has technology changed? So, but we need to base on history, and so we don't make the same mistakes again by assuming everything's the same when it isn't. So that's the value of history, not just who lived where, and those kind of things are good to know, but we need to know from a government standpoint, why are we where we are today? This,
Well, what did you call, I really appreciate that, Carl. Thank you. What did you call Supply Road? What kind of highway?
It was 150 foot, 150 feet.
Yeah, but what did you call, they wanted to
150
make
feet.
Beautification zone.
beautification zone?
So they wanted to keep Supply Road looking like
What's
it's all state land or whatever, you know, all the woods.
status
So
quo?
they set up 150 foot beautification. But you to find that out.
But who did? They said they did. Well, who's
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
What about the people who live along that road or own the property, I should say?
But that's the kind of stuff that should be in the history because nobody knows about it.
I mean, I'm okay with it, but are those people, and if they're not, come and see
Write
us.
it down, Randy.
It's called a natural beauty road. Is that what that was? With the road commission? A natural beauty road or something
Something
like
like, yeah, what's to that
that?
effect?
Because there was something that was, I've got a book, but I don't really know.
It's not the road commission though, it's the township.
No, I think they did it in conjunction with, the road, but
County.
It was at one time designated a sensitive environmental area. And then that was taken out, but the setback was left in as far as, you know, what I've been told by Paul, but
I think that had to do with the Boardman River corridor too, because that's a state scenic river and it's a blue ribbon trout stream and a couple other designations.
so, yeah, I don't know, does that still apply? Do we still want that? I don't know. I mean, it is pretty.
How would you find out if that
So
even
we can
still
look into it.
apply?
Well, the setback still applies.
Yeah.
We don't know why.
I had a question, Keith, do you know, is that also true in Kalkaska County for Supply Road and Grand Traverse?
I don't
And if
know.
it isn't, if they remove theirs, then
That's
that's
a
a
good
good reason
thing.
for us to remove ours and just say this is out of date.
Well, on the west end of Supply, the road, the houses are closer than 150 feet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's obviously some places it's different.
That's just an example. I'm not even saying that's a priority.
Yes.
No, it's a
but-
great example.
But
That's a good
knowing
one.
why we have our ordinance the way they are, what's the history when we move forward. And when we come up with new ordinances, we should have the reasons in there so that in the future, people can tell if they still apply or not.
And that's a good one to flag for our attention when we can get to it, is to change it if need be, you know.
You said that's Kalkaska, Fife Lake, what does it go through?
Is it East Bay Township or Traverse?
Kalkaska and Grand Traverse County,
Would it be any Fife Lake at all or
or
no?
Five Lake Township probably.
You got Union,
South Boardman, yeah.
South Boardman, and what about Union? They're in there too.
Don't know where the boundary is.
I'll have
Well-
to drive down the road. and get all the markers.
That's a good discussion, but I think we should probably get back on track just a little bit.
So everybody next meeting, come back. If you don't like this kind of reporting, then you come back with a different solution for me. I don't mind implementing a different.
Deal.
Nope,
I like it. Anything else for us, Sadie?
nope, that's all I got.
Cool. ZBA update. What do you got for us?
There were no meetings last month, but we do have an appeal coming up from the Bags on the Bags Road group that own that. They are appealing an administrative decision of the Whitewater Township Board that declared parcel 2813-136-000102 was non-compliant with Whitewater Township General Ordinance 26. Specifically, it is not eligible for any building permits or zoning approvals such as special land use approval because it does not meet the 4:1 depth to width ratio. It exceeds that. And that was done by the township board.
So when is that meeting?
That'll be the 24th,
August 24th? What time?
No,
7 o'clock.
7 PM. Is that a public hearing or is
Yes.
that, it is a public hearing? Thank you. All right, I guess we're gonna move right into unfinished business. So we're gonna talk about the zoning update project first. So I'll have Randy give us a little update.
So the new contract was signed on June 22nd, and then since then, I'll give you kind of a list of the things that nothing in your packet yet. But next month there will be. On the 5th of July, I met with the clerk to discuss the project, and she gave me a flash drive with all of the files. Very useful. On the 17th, I emailed Chris Patterson, our attorney, to inform him of the work going on and a general approach so that he is in the loop, so to speak. And I told him I would copy him on what is generated. And then on the 20th, I met with Bob Hall to talk about this as well. So he's in the loop on the steps we're taking forward. So in terms of actual work, I've spent some time looking at the existing ordinance and how it's organized. It seems, and Bob agreed with me, that we can collapse the number of the articles down from 37 to half of that, probably 15 or so. There's a lot of articles in the zoning ordinance that's got one provision in it, and that kind of makes it cumbersome to flip through. You all have copies of this, so if you flip through it, you see what I mean. And it's not really the way modern zoning codes are organized anymore. There's typically in about 15 chapters, and there's a general cadence to how the ordinance is put together. I have several sources of information. Beginning as my starting point, the document that the Planning Commission was given that has all of the different articles in it. You were given a binder. Looks like this. So this is what I'm starting with, given that that's what you have. We also have the Muni Code document. We also have what was online, and then some of the material from the clerk's office. So I'm trying to reconcile all of that together and make sure that I'm not missing anything. Plus the book of amendments too. There was that amendments or whatever that has been passed, but some of which have been incorporated into this, some of them not. So we're trying to make sure that that's done. I've taken a walk through the definitions of the zoning ordinance, which sounds like an incredibly boring thing to do, and it is, but there are a number of missing things in there that I can spot right off the bat that need to be corrected. And so I've made some of those, and I've also created a Microsoft Word template that we can use that is going to give an automatic numbering system, an automatic table of contents generating things. So there's a lot of tools in Word that exist that make this kind of work much easier, because you need to have a consistent format and a consistent hierarchy of how the information is shown. And then one important issue that we'll have to deal with here shortly, sooner rather than later, is the issue of the zoning map. We have an issue with the zoning map. We have legal descriptions in the text. We have a zoning map. It's very rare that a zoning ordinance in this day and age have a legal description for where the zoning boundaries are. You don't see that. I've seen it like once or twice in my 40 years. So it needs to be fixed. I need to organize that issue for you for the next meeting, and also talk with our attorney about that. So that we're clear.
Does that get rectified? Because it's my understanding they don't even match necessarily. Is that correct?
I don't know if they do or don't.
Oh, that's what you're
mean,
reconciling right now.
Yes, but as I understand it, the township has been using a zoning map for at least 10 years, if not longer. That is supposed to be the representation of the legal descriptions. I don't know that they are or not, but we should end up at this process with a zoning map, not legal descriptions.
So part of it would be removing the legal descriptions, but we may need to officially adopt
a zoning map,
right?
That becomes part of the ordinance.
Right.
And there's typically a chapter that says zoning map, then it becomes, it's signed by the clerk and it's dated, it's part of the ordinance that's updated. It's all one unit. It's just not text. That's the way 99.9% of the local governments do zoning. So we need to fix that. So there's no question about the zoning districts.
Makes sense.
So that's where we're at. Next month, you'll have material and we should talk a little bit about our process. And we're gonna have time at the planning commission meetings, to go over this.
Yeah, I think last month it was decided that would be a standing agenda item, which I definitely agree with. So we'll just
Yep.
always, every meeting we'll be talking about that. One thing were you done? I'm sorry. Okay, one thing I wanted to discuss was having a quarterly joint or roughly quarterly to keep with the township board so that we could keep them apprised along the way. And so there's no surprises or big, huge document for them to review at the end. How do you guys feel about that?
I think it's a good idea.
I think we made great,
Really good
I think
idea.
we made great progress when we had our joint meeting in May.
Yeah.
And I think can only benefit us in several ways. So what are you thinking would be a good time to start that up? Like, what month or?
I would think a couple months out here, maybe get 1 or 2 meetings with just the planning commission to get some traction.
Maybe work on maybe like October-ish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I put that October-ish? Just kidding.
Should we go as far as trying to pick a couple dates now so that we can get it on their September agenda?
Sure.
We might as well, right?
I'll give you
So this-
invitations.
So do I look at the calendar? Is that what I do, Lois? Township website calendar
Oh, yeah,
to see if,
see what's available.
yeah.
Really can't be October because that would just give us one meeting.
So November maybe.
Because they're
Oh, yeah.
their meetings before ours. So.
Well, we would have our fourth meeting in September 6th. If we went like middle, late October, if we went like same October 18th. Does October 18th sound good?
Yeah.
Let's aim for that.
Would that be a night or morning meeting?
That would be night.
October 18th.
Yep. I mean, I will ask them, I'll put it in their September packet.
I'll give you an invitation in my recording. Put flowers on it.
Okay.
Just thinking also in terms of the timing of the master plan project, maybe going out another month might be, all the
Yeah.
workshops would be behind us then, and we could maybe kind of cover both.
That's a good idea.
That
So-
is a great idea.
So if we went, let's say we did like November 15th.
Ooh, careful.
What? Oh. Sorry.
You're
Duh.
treading on some
Oh,
rough
yeah. Okay, the week before, November 8th. How's November 8th sound? That's a good idea. So we would make, what do? We need to make a motion right now for a special joint township board PC meeting, November 8th at 7 o'clock. Okay, I made that motion. Did you catch that?
Schedule a special meeting with the
Yeah,
township board.
I second it.
Thanks. Thank goodness for Lois.
November. This already had it in here.
Yeah. Wow, mind reader.
You're dangerous.
So I made the motion, Al seconded, and then we'll do roll call when ready.
We don't have an election, right? We have an election in November, right?
No, no. Well, they don't know yet. But it wouldn't be that week anyway.
Are you sure?
First Monday
That'd be the 6th.
it'd be the first Tuesday after Monday. So the 7th is actually the date of fall.
Okay, just checking that.
Well, should we make it like a Thursday night, the 9th, just so there's a break in between there in case there is? Want to do that?
Or bounce it into the next.
We
well,
can't go the
when's
next week.
hunting
'Cause
season?
That's the
When
next
is
week.
hunting season? When's hunting season? November what?
15.
Gee,
That's why we couldn't do
I
that.
don't hunt. I applaud because it's quiet.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the 9th, Thursday, the
Okay.
9th of November. I amend my motion to Thursday, the 9th.
Somebody's got to remember.
I'd second it.
Al seconds. Roll call when ready.
Steelman,
Yes.
DeYoung,
yes,
Falmouth,
Yes.
Keaton,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
and Robel.
Yes.
Thank you. So we're gonna go into master plan, unless anybody had anything else to do with zoning updates, any questions or? Okay, master plan, we did not receive the survey results yet. However, we've received 2 more. So what are our thoughts on? I think they should be included if it's not too late with Networks Northwest.
Yeah.
But
Uh-oh.
what, concerns? Go ahead. Probably.
Can they be included yet? Is it too late or can we still be added?
I don't
you
know.
guys.
Do we need to make a
How
motion?
far past the deadline is it?
It was June 16th.
This
is
one's
this?
dated
It's a month.
July, they're both dated July 21st. That they were,
That's past the deadline. I
Way
think.
That's
past the
way past the
deadline.
Yeah.
deadline. And then if you accept those and somebody does it
But he's
2
right.
weeks later, why can't mine be in?
That's right,
the
exactly
case.
right.
Yeah, that's why you have deadlines.
You know, I think we had a deadline and if they missed it, they missed it.
But we did go a little over the deadline, but. It's in the minutes. It's in the minutes studies. Let's check what that was.
We did accept a few after the deadline.
We did partially because we didn't have a contract set up with
Right,
Networks
the
Northwest yet,
contract
so it
wasn't in there
didn't
yet.
really matter
At that time.
at that time because no tabulation had started, so. But now the tabulation should be underway. And almost done.
right? Too late?
I think so.
Do we do
Well over a
consensus
month.
for that?
What's
Just a
that?
consensus then? No, no,
Too late.
too late.
Too late.
All right, that's it, sorry. And then the other question I had about, speaking of survey results, is we should be getting them pretty soon. And so to keep things moving along, I was hoping you all would be willing to have another meeting like August 16th so that we could, review that data and keep things moving. That's 2 weeks, 2 Wednesdays from
So are
now.
we sure we're gonna have the information by then?
Oh, boy. Well,
We're supposed to.
2 more weeks from
Which
now.
meeting is this now?
This would be a special meeting, August 16th for PCROS stuff for
That's
the
me.
survey.
You know?
Be
So
you.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it would be you and all, it'd be all of
I
us.
can
Yeah.
do Wednesday.
8/16.
I can do it.
Oh, it'll be all.
Yeah, it would be all of
What
us.
time?
We can
7?
do 7. I guess, what I'll do is if we don't have anything, we don't have the surveys, we can cancel it. And we don't have anything, but I'm thinking we're at this critical point where we need to start moving things along, so
Should that include the ROS committee then?
I think so.
I think so.
Yeah.
And we still need to put a person on there. Do we have that on the agenda?
It's
to
coming up
discuss?
here after
Okay.
we get to, we'll get there.
So this is not an ROS meeting, it's just a special meeting of ours, of the PC.
Yeah, it'll
board.
be a combo PC, ROS, yeah. So our agenda would basically be survey.
Go over the survey results.
Yeah, it'd be the survey results, and then I'll just leave it open for anything else. Go ahead.
And then perhaps also discussing the community engagement workshop, the
Oh, yeah.
dates and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully we're at that.
You
we're
guys should be at
where
that point
we
too.
could Start that conversation and then maybe make it clear what the ROS committee is doing.
Yeah.
Going forward, because there's,
All right, so then we would, at that, we would be assigning ROS duties. Yeah, okay. So it'd be, yeah. And I'll just leave it open for anything else related to that. Okay,
That's a big stretch.
all right. A motion, I'll make a motion to have a special PC meeting on August 16th at 7 PM with the PC and the ROS.
I'll second.
Roll call when ready. Thank you.
Read this part and see if this is acceptable for what we plan. If it's not,
You're fine.
Robo,
Yes.
threw you off doing you first. I threw you off doing you first, didn't I?
Yeah.
Almost said yes. Steelman,
Yes.
DeYoung,
Yes,
Velmuth,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Keaton.
Yes.
Okay. The next thing we have is community engagement proposals and the budget discussion. They kind of go hand in hand, I feel, because of the money is involved with so I don't know. I'm hoping everybody had a chance to read the two proposals. You've heard Rod's input, and then I have a document to share and that I passed out. It's called Community Engagement Partner Selection. Randy helped write that up, and I'll share it on Zoom here as well. Whoops. So what are your thoughts? What do you want me to, should I read this?
maybe I could just go over it real quickly.
Sure.
And what we're, there's a lot of moving parts here in this, and things have moved fairly quickly the last couple of months, but I wanted to point out that our planning process has always included a collaborative visioning component to this in terms of some workshops to go along with the survey. We knew the survey was 10 years old, and some sort of visioning workshop, whatever you want to call it, type effort. And then back in, I think, December, the ROS committee was created to help steer that effort, knowing that there was a pretty heavy lift in terms of getting a new survey question out, and then also discussing how the community outreach would happen. I think they came away with a couple of key points. That is that there are at least 2 events that are needed. We need to make sure these are well advertised, well organized, productive, and it gives us the kind of information we need for the master plan. And then I think finally, and probably most importantly, it was important to have a third party involved in this to remove any concerns about data integrity with regard to the survey. None of the surveys were ever opened locally, as far as I know. They were all taken to Networks Northwest for tabulation. And the same holds true with the workshops. I believe having a third party help us with the event planning and organization helps to support an atmosphere of collaboration, being neutral, objective, and impartial. So there's no, we're trying to be as transparent as possible. I listed out here the RFP process, what exactly happened in terms of sequencing. We did meet with Networks Northwest and Leah informally to discuss the needs. The Planning Commission looked at the RFP on July 12th. It was sent out the next day. It was topic of discussion at the board meeting on the 18th. Responses were due on the 25th. And there's two proposals in here. Technically, Networks Northwest gave us a proposal before the RFP was sent out. So, and I think, I want to speak for them, but I think the problem was that Zach was leaving to go out of the country, actually on vacation, and wanted to get something over here. Unfortunately, it wasn't really within the confines of the RFP process. So we've thought in the interest again of transparency, we'll give you what Networks Northwest sent us, and then also what Leah sent us. This is what was provided. The cost for Networks Northwest is appealing, but there's really no detail in there in terms of, as Rod mentioned. And
It didn't make me warm and fuzzy.
no, it's a contract, and so there's a lot more information, a lot more background. I've listed them. And one of the other elements here is that the contract with Networks Northwest does include the indemnification clause, which was a concern to the township board in the last two contracts that we signed. It's basically very broad, and that was problematic to some. I think it's pretty clear what we would get from Leah. They spent some time thinking about our needs, but they spent time reviewing our RFP and responded appropriately. So it seems like a good proposal to me.
I agree. I like it. I think it has everything that we need and are hoping for to pull out of what we need to do with this, especially after 10 years of not having. So go ahead, Al.
Well, I think I would agree with Rod's recommendation and Randy's. I would think we'd move forward with that.
Okay, right.
If that's a
No, go
Yeah.
ahead. You- Sorry.
No, I think the Leah contract looks better. Randy's explanation kind of makes sense. I wondered why it fell so short and the price was so different. So it kind of makes sense without speaking for them, but if they don't want to take the time to do the proposal right, then we should go with the people who do.
And if you're already having issues,
With that company, right?
makes you second guess putting all your eggs in one basket.
How do you feel about it, Carl?
I agree.
How many companies was the RFP sent to?
I mean,
How many companies?
right,
1.5.
one of
if you
the,
want
One
to
you
count.
really can't include because it wasn't.
right. So several told us that they were too busy.
Okay.
This,
I
and
agree with it.
it's a good time to be a planning consultant.
Because everybody's so far behind.
So I think two things, right? We need to make a motion because we need to send this to the board because they'll have to ultimately approve it. I've given them both contracts because their meetings next week and the packet information was due. But told them, and I'm hopeful that I can sneak in what our recommendation is before so that they can make a decision next week.
Couldn't I add it?
I would add it as a specific
Are you
agenda
in there or am I
item.
in
You
there?
would add it, I think,
That's
at the
fine.
meeting as
Yeah.
an agenda
Yeah.
item. And but I will email it to everybody so they have our motion and our request for them to approve it. But I think we need to probably also list very detailed our findings of facts and why we're picking this one. So there's
We
no
really did-
question.
Yeah. Remember when we send a document up to them, pretty happy, no in other words, answer all the questions. Don't leave any questions on the table. We won't have any issues.
So I think the best thing to do is, well, Randy gave us a sample motion, so to recommend that the township board accept the proposal from Leah and take any necessary contractual steps as soon as possible. That'd be the motion, but I want us to talk about and specifically list our findings of fact of why we're choosing Leah, so that when we give it to them, like Heidi said, there's no questions.
I think we start out with Rod, who has been working with him with his, what his thoughts were on it. I mean, after what you read there, I mean, to me, it was, there's no doubt who I'd want to go with.
And I think if you just list on there,
Yes.
the 5 companies that you sent them to, and when you received, this one, and then didn't receive any from anybody else, and explaining that the first one came in before, and there was no follow-up after they received the.
So do you feel like the write-up, do you think just including both of these write-ups, Randy's and Rod's, are,
I think
Well,
that would
can-
certainly.
can-
or do you think it
justify
should be more bullet point, like,
Can we
I would just-
ask the two people sitting over in the audience, because they're the other part of the committee, if they have any response here to add? Because it's their
I'm okay
committee
with,
out there.
I'm okay with asking their input.
Can we have
Everybody,
your input, you guys? Because you sit in the meeting, we're trying to make a decision for you. Can you help us out a little, please? Because we got to do findings of fact. We need your facts too.
I have
Tom, you
Had-
gotta state your name.
Tom McElwee, I'm an outreach ROS. At our ROS meetings, I would hear from Randy and Rod about somewhat frustrating interactions with Zach and travel and other people not really being as responsive as we would like. And so when I heard of an alternative, Leah, who I didn't know anything about, now that I drive past their office on Munson Avenue, I recognize they're right here in town. I would be happy with some organization that was more responsive. Pretty unhappy hearing about the frustration with Networks Northwest. The only personal interaction I have with Networks Northwest is I carted all the surveys over to them, and the guy who was our guy, Zach, wasn't there, and 2 other guys came out, and they seemed to know that they were supposed to be getting survey results, but that was it.
thank you.
Are we on track? Has anybody talked to Northwest? Are we on track?
The contract calls for them to be completed by August 7th, which is 5 days away.
Okay, has
Rod
anybody-
had mentioned that he thought that their bench was pretty thin, and there were a lot of paper surveys to be gone through. I think entering the yes, no, check would be pretty quick, but there were at least 2 questions that were open-ended questions that somebody's gonna have to take time to data entry.
So in your opinion, should somebody be contacting them to make sure they're hitting that date? Is anybody contacting them to hit that window?
I would think the 7th hits and we haven't heard from them, we'll definitely be, and I will do that if that's what,
I just want someone to
because
follow.
I would be on the email when it comes in, so I would know if it hasn't come in, so I could,
Because there's.
I can
Today's the
inquire.
2nd.
I'll add it to my list to inquire.
Because these guys need to keep going. They kind of need that answer, correct, Tom?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we're gonna meet on the 16th, so I mean, we would definitely need it by then to be able to. Go ahead, Denise, if you can step up. Sure, go ahead.
I just want to make sure, because you're like 5 days from your deadline or 3 days from your deadline, that. Because it doesn't make me warm and fuzzy hearing that, everything wasn't going smoothly, but you need to pick up, we need to pick up, make sure they're not throwing more onto your plate that you don't know about. Like, we're not done yet.
Thank you, Denise.
Thanks, Denise.
Okay, so back to, we're choosing Leah, so I made the motion to recommend that the township board accept the proposal. Do I have to first make a motion that we accept it? Yeah, so rewrite it, please.
I think it would just be to
Approve. We already, okay. let me see what about that.
motion.
So the PC is making a motion to accept the proposal from Leah and send it to the township board for,
And to recommend the township board accept the proposal.
yes, thank you.
Okay, so we'll just add those words.
Perfect. Did you second, Heidi?
I think I did.
Roll call when ready?
Young,
Yes.
Keaton,
Yes.
Valmuth,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Steelman,
Yes.
Robel.
Yes.
So findings of fact. Do we need to hammer that out in detail right now?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought so. I just,
Detail,
okay,
warm
so,
and fuzzy and happy.
so let me get a piece of paper here. All right, so we're gonna list that where are we gonna start?
Start with that we only got one real proposal back out of the 5 places we sent it to.
Sent 5 RFPs, received 1 complete response. Okay. What does Leah do for us that we like? Let's list those things.
There's a pretty clear work scope.
Clear.
There is a
Did they
clear
meet
word.
the entire RFP? You can just list that they met the RFP requirements, and you can have a copy of the RFP.
Okay. Okay, I have a clear work scope. They met the RFP requirements, and then I'll put, I think it's already included in their packet is the RFP, but
We're also not putting all our eggs in one basket. We're branching out for new ideas.
I think you should mention that we're not real happy with the Networks North.
Okay, how do you put that, like, happy but not happy? Like, they failed
We're
to,
not satisfied with the.
Not
not
results.
satisfied with them meeting the results requested.
Satisfied.
No, they didn't.
so it's services and it was the contract, right? Was a big issue for the board. And
Yeah,
the,
the
and
indemnification clause.
Indemnification clauses, so at
most
the end of the
stuff's
day,
on
we weren't
here.
getting our money's worth for what we were paying, we felt. Questionable service, how's
We
that?
are not confident they would meet our requirements.
There you go, not confident that they would meet our requirements.
They didn't meet the RFP requirements.
So not,
Did not meet.
I mean, the considerations that you put in your bullet points are pretty ideal,
Responsiveness.
which I can reshare that for everybody.
are you talking about the RFP process bullet points, or are you talking about the ones on his other sheet?
The on the,
Statement?
yes, on the back side, under considerations, information is provided concerning Leah's prior experience with similar work. Leah's impressive staff qualifications and experience are also provided. I think that's a good one.
Yeah.
You're gonna need to give me these.
Okay,
You
I
got them
did-
before, look on your one sheet, Lois, that looks like this, it's on the back.
I can send you an electronic version too if you wanna.
It says appropriate motion. We're reading
Yep, I
it
got
Right
back.
above
that.
that, those
So
bullets.
those both
Mhm.
ones, okay, I'll
The
include
deep-
those.
Go ahead.
Is this a document you're working on?
Yeah, I
provided that?
gave you
Was this a document that you're working on to provide?
to the board.
Yes.
Yes, but what you're doing. right
Yes,
now.
I'm doing a findings of fact. I mean, I will have to retype it in a specific.
So I would suggest you put date RFP sent out. You know, list, of course, the people that the RFP was sent to, the date that we got back, the RFP from.
Yep, show them the process.
Yeah.
Good
So I mean,
idea.
it's this document.
It's
this
all
is-
there.
this is
It's
the
pretty
doc-
much all there.
I mean, I feel like this is what we need to give them.
That has all the dates.
It has
Yeah,
the
it
background, the RFP
There's
process,
a timeline.
The dates.
and then the considerations. So I'm thinking the only thing, we use this particular document, but we just see if there's any additional considerations we should add.
Anybody see anything on that document that you go, or or let me look at it? That's what we need to do before we send something up the food chain, is we all need to look at it and make sure we read it like we're reading it like a board member. It's the only way you give people finished products is you gotta think like them. Where am I gonna fail? What am I not giving them
Yeah,
that's
you
not
got it.
making it warm and fuzzy, right?
It's got it all, doesn't
Got
it?
it all.
Everything's
That's what
on
I was
there.
thinking. The only thing I would say is there anything from Rod's that we would want to add or anything additional we should be adding to it? Because I think it's pretty good, formative.
Would you want to send rods with it?
I would attach rods to it.
Yeah.
Attach
Send it
rods.
Yeah, we could do that. That's a good idea.
You can just read it if they want, or if they don't want
Right.
to read it, but at least they can get.
Can we put
opinion
like
from someone.
eyeglasses on the top, like with two eyeballs and just say, read please?
Okay, that's simple. Well, that makes it a lot easier than trying to
Yes,
rewrite
it
everything
does.
ourselves.
Well, at the end of the day, it's pretty much everything we discussed
Right.
in better
Yeah,
form.
this is well written, it's fine. Yeah.
So that's what will be submitted, and I will get that probably tomorrow to the board. And Heidi, you will ask that they add it to the agenda to make a decision or, accept it or whatever.
Are you gonna put,
I'll put a
you're gonna
sample
put, you're gonna
motion.
put the RFP in there too, right?
It should be in there already. my
That's what I
portion.
thought. I think it's. in
But I can
there.
add it to this piece if you want it too, just so it's all
Well-
together.
Yeah, because it shows up on page. I'd have to go through 200 pages, but Rachel, I think it shows up in like page 200 and something.
It's gotta be,
I'm not
yeah.
sure.
because-
Yeah, because that's how your stuff starts.
Yeah, it does. It's right towards the very end.
But, okay, here's the idea. Do we make it pretty in a little packet, then I add it with the little packet, but we send it to them tomorrow?
Well, I will send it
Or not.
electronically to them
Right, that's
tomorrow,
what I'm
but
saying.
I think your job would then to be to make sure that it's physically added, like when you do the adjust.
Right, I'll
the-
physically add it, but do you want me to, you want to pretty it up a little more so they get a copy in front of them? Too?
Well, we can, sure.
I mean, it's up to you. What do you guys think?
I mean,
I think it's fine the way it is. I mean, the way you've got it.
Too
Good.
much information, Denise?
I will do a cover sheet and with an sample motion and exactly explain and then attach. Yeah. I will make it clear what it is for, asking for it to be added to the agenda and a acceptance. And then my thought is if they don't get it through next Tuesday, then we'll ask officially for them to have a special meeting for this purpose. So that we can keep it
I don't
rolling.
think they're not, I mean, as long as you send them the information. They're, they got 10 days to, we're giving them
They have 6
6
days.
days to read it.
The problem is it's not in the packet for the public. That's gonna be but I think they can do an amendment to the packet. I think. that's a PC ROS meeting, but I would ask if they don't get to this or will not address it or make it, accept it on Tuesday, then I would officially ask them to make a special meeting like they did last
Yeah, but why
month
do
to
you
keep
think
our
they won't
things
accept
moving.
it?
Well, I don't know. I'm not trying to be negative, but I'm just trying to plan for the future.
Well, okay, so if we send it to them tomorrow, I'll add it the day of the meeting. I'll put copies over there and present a copy to each one of them. Am I missing anything?
Shouldn't be, shouldn't be. I'm just having a plan B. So that's all.
It's
All right.
pathetic. We have to have a plan B, but okay.
I want everybody to know what my plan B is in case it has to happen. I'm not just doing things outside of going rogue.
No,
know?
you gotta have
So-
a plan. You gotta have a plan B and C.
Okay, so, okay, budget discussion. So now I'm gonna share this document that Randy did for us. We have in front of us. So,
Do we add this to this?
No.
No? Okay.
Okay, so I love this, by the way. I think it's really clear. We haven't spent much.
Do you want me to hand this out to the board in my report? It's an important document for them to see.
So I don't have the dates that things that the clerk posted these payments on, so that's why that column is empty. I just know I have a copy of the invoice, so I don't know when it was paid. I know the amount. So
Do you want me to verify the dates with her? And then send it
if
to
I can
them?
just add the dates in there, it would complete it when those, well, I don't know if the other $1,200 was paid yet. I just basically took this with what I know currently. So these are the invoices that I have sent, and these are the invoices from Networks Northwest that we already know. It doesn't include what we just talked about, of course, but so we're at just under $6,000 for the first 4 months of the year. Fiscal.
Which is a gift, in my opinion.
We've spent more than this.
What's that?
We've contractually spent more than this.
Well, until this new contract would be added to this, so adding that contract in there be $23,000. And
Not to be, this is great, but I would love to see one extra thing. in here. I'd like to see a column that shows contractually what we've approved or promised to.
So
So.
like
From
encumbered,
beginning,
like encumbered funds.
Yes, so that we know that, you know, if we spend 10,000, 12,000, or whatever, based on how much our budget was, where are we already at with that? We know that we haven't spent it all yet, but we are gonna spend that amount. And so the next time we go to look at spending more money on something, we can look at that and say, well, we're gonna have to go to township and say, you know.
we need some more, right?
That make sense?
Is that hard to do?
no, I can do that.
I mean, I don't want to put anything on your plate that's gonna take you more time, but is that hard?
No, it's just a spreadsheet. You just add a
Yeah.
column. I don't, it's not
Yeah.
a big deal.
What's your thoughts on that? Everybody?
I think it's a great idea.
Al?
Keeps it-
What about that? Okay,
We just help us keep in mind, you know, how much really, because it says, you know, we've spent 91%, but really we spent more than that.
Well,
Promise more than that already.
well, because of the 18,000, yeah. So that brings up kind of another point because that's gonna take us down pretty quick. So,
So one other point to make in that is that I separated out master plan from zoning rewrite.
Yes.
Because the budget was approved for the fiscal year starting April 1st. That budget was approved before the contract was signed for the zoning update. So there was no extra money put into the budget to
for the
accomplish
zoning
the zoning work.
updates. So now we have to go back and ask for that. maybe.
So we should, well, I don't know, I guess,
But what I'd like to see is that, all our contracts in here and where we stand, so then we can take a look at it and say, maybe we can do that for
For
Our
the
next meeting
16th.
for the
Yes.
16th.
Maybe have like a pending or a proposed,
Mhm.
this is where we're at, this is what we think we're going to need to spend. And
yeah,
so.
well, this is what we've already
Yeah.
spent contractually, so, you know,
I,
we're not looking at.
because we've
spending
lost
money
our
thinking
budget
we haven't
person,
spent it.
so Rod was doing all this. He was even tracking the amendments, so now we,
So I agree because we are gonna ask for an amendment here soon. So we need to quickly figure out where we're headed. And they've asked us for a forecasted budget
Mhm.
on the master plan. The board has asked us for that.
we have to be able to give them the forecast because they want to start budget proceedings a little earlier than normal.
And on the first two entries, North Place Planning, the April and May, are those both for the same thing, or is one for,
one was the April invoice and one was the May invoice.
what
Well,
was
I mean,
it?
for the previous month.
Yeah, but was that just all master plan, or was that?
So that's
zoning?
that's why it's broken out, whether or not it was master
Okay,
plan
I
or
see.
zoning. There was only one case where it just started.
Right,
In the previous
okay,
month, there
I
was
see
no
it
time
now.
spent on
Yep.
zoning.
Oh, that's great then. Yeah,
We can keep track of the costs for all of it.
thank you.
Because I think if we put numbers to the discussion with them, it's a lot more warm and fuzzy for them.
So right now we have only three numbers really that we've committed to, right? Master plan number, which was there ever a number placed to that?
No.
Okay. The zoning plan, zoning ordinance, which there's a number attached to that,
Right. There
and
is.
the one that we just approved it.
Which is actually the master plan, part of the master plan. So
and
it's
not
really
part of
two.
his contract.
Not right.
No, right. It's separate of
Right.
his, yes. I mean,
Good.
I would think by September or October at the very latest, we're gonna need a budget amendment
Right.
by doing this, and they want a forecast. So I think it's appropriate for us to be talking about this in our next meeting in August and our September meeting. So by October at the latest, we can give them a forecast and a request for an amendment.
There you go.
Because that's gonna be my one concern is that when this comes to their table next week, that's where I'm thinking Plan B might have to fall into place because I think the questions are gonna be surrounded the budget. Because there's been numbers thrown out from everything from 50,000 to, sky's the limit.
100.
So they're really concerned about that. And
Can we reduce that concern in some verbiage at the beginning of the letter? To make it less.
Well, maybe
abrupt?
including this would help solidify that
That's
we
what-
haven't spent yet. We're not going to be overspending with the 18,000. And by October, I could add that into the
That
cover
might be a
sheet,
good
like,
idea.
I think the fact that the zoning update was never funded. I mean, it was, there was a budget of 32 to start with the master plan, but then you added the zoning work
Never funded it. though.
and never added any money to our budget for that.
The township never added to our.
Correct.
budget, right.
Because at one point, when we discussed the budget and I brought up, is the planner in our budget or not? We couldn't even get a question answered. Remember that, Al? We brought it up. We couldn't get an answer. So notation that going into budget season this year, we separate everything so that they realize A, B, C.
I think if we
D.
can show them this and show them, contractually where we stand and all that, I think they're gonna be a lot more, at least not have the willies about every time we come out.
Yeah, can we move that up to the equation
So,
instead of waiting
I
to
will-
do it on?
I might have some of these dates. So I will first thing in the morning, look for those.
Okay.
And then if
And
you
here's
add
what
that
I'll do, just put it
encumbered column just to show the 18 in here too. And then I can work on a cover letter and maybe we can bounce it back in the morning because I would like to get this to them by close of business tomorrow.
I think we need to do that.
Are these checks that's been paid?
No,
The
Not-
invoices.
They're invoices.
I
Even if
think,
they've been paid,
I
I can
think
pull
they
that
have.
information almost immediately when we're done.
oh, okay, because I think at least one or two of these have been paid. I know the 400 and I think at least the first 1207's been
Yeah,
paid.
did she send
I
them
think
one
I
check
do have,
already?
I think I have that in my email, but if you can pull it, that'd be great. Then we can plug those numbers in right away.
Because I think the more information we give them to lessen the questions and clarify the money issue a little better, I think we'll be way ahead of the game.
I do too, because I think that's what's gonna
I think that's
cause
what's kicking
alarm and
us.
kick us into plan B that we don't want to have to do. So that's why I thought that the budget and the engagement proposals kind of conversation goes together very much. And Randy had mentioned that before too, that it's gonna be
I
one and
think
the
the
same.
clearer we make it,
Okay,
that
and
X
then
number of dollars are going here, here, and here, it gets
I-
more warm fuzzy.
And I will copy everybody on that when I send it tomorrow to the board. Anything else on the budget, Randy, for now? Okay. Move, anybody else budget discussion? I don't
What
want
else
to, I
are
don't
we
want
on
to jump ahead
budget
on
and
anybody.
What else? Are we on ROS or? no?
Now we're on
Now we're
ROS.
on ROS. I was just gonna say, I know I volunteered to be on the ROS committee, but I would like to give that position to Keith because he's volunteered. Weeka. I will help you as much as you need. I will shadow you. I will be your buddy. I will be whatever you need me to do, but I don't think I should be a prime candidate in there. I'm a board member. As a private citizen, yes. Not as.
Oh,
No, it's okay. So are you okay doing that? I'll help you whatever you need. Even if it's just come and take notes. I can do that too.
So also, I know Vicky's not been available very much. Do you know if that's gonna change or should we be looking for an additional
No, she's
resident?
gonna zoom in, I think, because now they'll have Zoom, right?
Yeah, but
Well, you
technically
guys-
you can't participate via Zoom.
No, you can't. But she should be back, I would think. I'll
Well,
ask her.
is there let me ask this question differently. Is there an issue with having additional residents on the group or is it necessary or?
Well, again, the whole purpose was to have the ROS with their, with an ability to dig into these issues deeper. You know, the more residents we had, the better. I mean, I thought we did perform very well for the planning commission. I mean, look, you got a survey done with minimal effort from the planning commission itself. I mean,
Yeah.
Well,
really kudos to them for.
do you
the work
think
they
they
did.
need to put a feeler out there for more helpers?
I think that would be good.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have been doing amazing. There's nothing wrong with what's been done. I just want to be able to have a large enough group to keep, if somebody's
We don't
not there,
want-
we can
So
still
how
keep
would you
moving.
suggest we do that besides email blasts? Let me write a letter to the editor, but that's kind of advertising.
Go ahead. I've had one person reach out and I mentioned there might be, but there's also a planning commission seat too open, so we're trying to get community involvement here as much as we can, so.
What are those stupid thing called? Public service? What if we did a public service announcement? What do you think, Keith? I mean, I don't want to hear my voice on the radio, but I'll help you write it, or I'll even go on Rhyme Jolly and advertise it.
I don't know, I guess it's up to you guys. I think that,
Maybe me go on Rhyme Jolly and say, hey, we're rewriting the master plan. We need some help.
if we don't, I guess if you don't feel that we can, between us, find enough people out there interested in do it, then yes, but we're only looking for what?
It's
3 people?
Yeah, 2, 3 people.
How
Well,
many people do you
yeah.
need? Do you think you need?
I think we just had a couple more.
I think that'd be, just to spread the work around too. There's a fair amount of work to do in the next.
You guys know anybody else
60
that's
days.
interested?
I mean, I'm now an
I-
extra body too for help.
So I kind of feel like this is an open meeting we're kind of announcing it. If we all put our feelers out and try to get drum up some help, we just start there.
Yep.
But I mean, I don't know if it's necessary to do a bunch of advertising right now that I don't,
We have a meeting on the 16th. We could add
we could put it on,
on the agenda.
okay. So just as like another announcement, people make yourself known if you're interested in being a part of this.
Okay,
Okay.
let's have some parameters here.
That we're looking for help? No, but that would be a good place to put it. Can you
um,
add that, Lois? Do we have to make a motion for that or get permission or
No,
not?
you have to ask someone. I have my very specific.
Okay,
I can put that on the PC page. Tell me what you want.
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
I
There
like-
we go.
Yeah.
Time, we
Way
got
to
to
get
get some red tape.
Way to get it
Yes,
done.
That is
yes,
my
we got our own page.
That's right. Okay,
Some parameters, expectations
get it
for
done.
this committee? How do I go out and find you guys some help if I don't know what your expectations are?
Township residents, somebody that's interested in the township and making it a better place. That's the parameters.
So you're basically
Say that
just
again.
making the
Interested.
township
Interest,
better.
a township resident, somebody, resident that's interested in making our township a better place.
That way you're not telling them they need a college education or 900 years of training. Just come in and give us your ideas. Unless you got something to add to that. You got something to add to that? No?
Problems while it's gone?
No. Just put down that you don't need a college degree to come help.
I think you need to be a resident and interested. That's what matters.
And
That's what we said.
and breathing, that's kind of gotta be breathing. We're gonna check.
We'll need to see
So we
some
just post-
participation.
So we're just, I mean, it already is posted like looking for help, right, for the PC and the other things. So maybe we just use the same verbiage basically that's already on the website for the other positions that are open. I can, just saw it today.
Actually, if you want to just send it to me, that would be fine. And I'll just post it
Oh,
tomorrow.
what did you guys already come up with something? Oh, well then, I'm good. Move on. See, you did solve it and while I was gone.
We only put one verbiage, just sentence.
That's, I think, all it needs to be. I mean,
Just
doesn't it?
said they need to be a township residents and resident that's interested in making the township a better place to live.
Perfect.
And what are they gonna do? By participating in,
Or West Board, right?
Go ahead, Tom.
And sure, we should spell out to an ROS what that means too.
Well, I don't think so. I think we-
Resident.
Yeah, let them figure it out.
Yeah.
Don't give
Go
too
ahead,
much
Tom.
information.
Be involved, ROS would be involved with interpreting or reviewing the survey results and setting up community engagement. And it's a short-term commitment.
Yes, short-term commitment's good.
Good, that's good, that's good.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, I don't know if you need to go into a bunch more detail, but I guess they could just reach out to me if they're, interested, if they have questions, because they might want to know that, you're not really making very many decisions. You're advising the PC. So you're kind of your son needs to, obviously it's a subcommittee of the PC. It's on the PC page. I don't know.
That was.
Well,
a
Is
good-
that,
okay.
is that
I like that.
necessary?
Well, no, I like your idea of anybody with any questions, please reach out to me. Idea,
Yeah.
we might generate some.
And I like that's a short-term commitment, so they know, hey, I'm just helping for a little while, so I have other things going on. I can do this.
Right, right. Thank you very much, Lois. So I put on the agenda next steps, meetings and asks of the team. But are we, the next meeting is gonna be the 16th. Is that it? Is that all we need to do for now? Or do you see anything else that we could talk about or?
Bring ideas to the table. If anybody has any other ideas, how you want me to address communication. Because you guys, I spent a lot of time on this, and the only thing I could come up with was to pull the stuff out of the packet so that everybody has the same information and we stop the game of telephone.
So this is in regards to the ROS though, so
Oh,
for,
sorry.
that's okay.
Well, maybe the ROS too, because that's where the question started. That's what, when I laid all this out on the table, the ROS was a big circle for a lot of the issues they had.
They is in the board.
They as in the board. It was like they didn't understand what they were doing. They didn't understand if the committee, where the committee, when I wrote this all out and I started putting down all their comments, I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, there is some subcommittee. That's true, and they do have a copy of that. I just
Mhm.
circled a piece of it. Oh, yeah, subcommittees. I mean, it does. So I guess if they have questions, I'd refer them to our bylaws. I don't know. There's no point in arguing or laying it out. You're right, Denise. It's there. This is the way it is, and we approved it, and the attorney reviewed it, so it is what it is.
You know,
That's
and at
simple.
one point, they didn't have a problem with a group of people putting together a survey and giving them the results. They made decisions on what they were gonna do with that ARPA money on that survey. And then the next time we did it, now we're jumping through hoops.
Yeah,
So kind of hard to balance all this, you guys, because you don't know what they're gonna throw at you next.
we just will be a step ahead with Plan B.
Okay.
Okay, so the only thing I could think of that we might ask between now and then is, where were we at as far as ROS goes for researching locations for? Is there anything else that needs to be tied up for that, so we can report back on that on the 16th? Because I think we're getting closer to needing that. Go ahead. I don't know anybody.
When we thought that the survey results were going to be back at the end of July, we actually had an appointment or a meeting set up for July 31st. And Denise and I were talking in the back of the room here. Before the August 16th meeting, we thought it might be helpful for the ROS to meet to look at the survey results to try to make the numbers make the most sense or get our input for the August 16th meeting, which unfortunately I'll be out of town that day. So we were thinking maybe August 10th for that meeting. Hopefully the results will be back. The survey results will be back by then. And the other issue is that we have not set dates, but we talked about potential locations for these community engagements. And the school was mentioned as one and the casino was mentioned as the other. I've been in touch with the fellow at the casino. It's actually, the meeting rooms are in the hotel, is my understanding.
Yep.
And before I even pursue that further, knowing that casino may have negative connotations, should I even pursue that? Is that something that this board would be agreeable with? They have meeting rooms, the guy explained over the phone. They have audiovisual equipment that would be appropriate for a group of 100 people. But I don't want to go there if it's felt that the casino hotel has got bad vibes.
Okay, well, do you look at that then? a church would have the same problem?
Well, my thought is
Could be.
we give them as much as we can come up with as ideas. They want us to bring them as many contracts as we can get, as many, options. So if we're gonna be asking them to pay for something, if we can give them the school and the casino and the, other many options, I don't see there's any harm in that myself, but I don't know.
I had one question. Is the school free?
No, we have to pay for a janitor to.
Oh,
clean up
okay,
the-
but that's it. So,
If you're serving food, you have to have a you have to have somebody there with, I can't remember, Cheryl told me, what was it?
From their food service.
Yeah, you have to pay for the salary for the food service person or
Okay.
something if you're serving food. There were some rules. I don't think it was as, it probably
It's
isn't very
mostly
expensive, but
janitorial, so
Yeah.
we have to clean up the mess.
Covering the
I wanna say it's like
$60.
$150.
for the school, wouldn't certainly wouldn't offend anybody.
But if you're talking about workshops, you're gonna talk about audio visual and all that, and the school's not gonna have any of that you're gonna set up. So then you're gonna have to pay somebody to come in and set that stuff up and.
I think Leah
Do-
does.
Leah includes it in
Yeah.
the,
Here's a question. Since they're doing all this, the Leah people, maybe they have a suggestion.
that's true.
Well, can we first address the meeting that they're talking about?
And the temp, are you free?
Yes, depending on what time.
Yeah, but
Yes, I could do that.
Okay, will you do the notice and agenda for that?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Now,
I
does
would-
that doesn't have to be Zoom, doesn't it? Yeah, there's no decisions made.
Okay, okay, yeah, you're right. Forgot my own. food.
So are you gonna zoom it or? Okay,
So then we still have to notice it then.
right, we
tonight.
have to notice
you
it,
gotta
Yeah,
notice it.
yeah.
but then we could do Zoom pretty easily, right?
And I'll start figuring out how
Thumbs up.
Zoom works to back you up.
Okay.
ROS 8:10, 9 AM. Keith's gonna do the noticing to the clerk. In Zoom.
I think that's a great idea, meeting on the 10th.
Yeah.
That way there's something,
Does anybody have a copy of,
what's that?
What do you need?
copy
That'll
of
be good.
one of the agendas from,
I do. I'll
You
I,
sent it to me?
you could use this agenda, oh, from the ROS?
yeah.
Uh,
Well, they're posted here.
Give it to the clerk.
I will send you the link to the last part. It's very similar to what you did for the. other.
I am not available.
which date?
10th.
I can take minutes.
And as long as I get a recording, I can do minutes,
Right, so as long as we just turn the recorder on
or I
and,
get a Zoom link, that would
Yeah,
be
you can.
fine too.
Okay, yeah, because it'll be recorded. We're doing Zoom.
so do you want minutes just timeline who speaks or you don't care? You can just do it off the
No, if I do
recording.
it from the recording and from
Okay.
Zoom, it'll work.
There you go. So you have that. And then it's off my list.
I have a question. If we get information from the school and information from other places, who makes the decision and gets the approval for doing that? Does it have to go to the board?
Well, that's a,
That's a good question.
You got a question?
Guess
I
what?
think not,
It's okay,
but.
if we're thinking that it doesn't, then it does.
Well,
That's how I look
I
at it.
asked, so you'll see in the packet in a minute where I asked them to clearly by, I don't know what date I gave them a due date, the 22nd or something, to identify when it is required and when it's not, because it's still unclear to us. But if it's under that magic dollar amount and it's a purchase order, because it's, That's changed so many times, I don't
They
even
make it
know.
up wherever they want, so I need to tell you what it is.
If we get it as a purchase order, not a contract, then I think we can, because I don't expect it to be more than the dollar amount, then I think we can just approve it here and go. Approve it on the 16th or whenever we can and go. But I'm also waiting for clarification on that because it's been so confusing and inconsistent.
My concern was just the time lag of now we're having to wait until
Yeah,
the September board meeting and to maybe approve it and get it scheduled and pushing
Did you
this
check
back,
with the
back, back.
church? Did you check with the church?
Rod said that he did not think that the basement of the church here on Williamsburg Road was big enough
Yeah.
for 100 people.
I wouldn't think so.
That's the number that
Mill
Rod
Creek,
suggested would be desirable.
Yeah, but what about?
That's a goal.
Woodland School?
I don't know,
We've got some big buildings there. We check with the Woodland School.
going off supply.
One off supply, it's a privately owned entity. I think I'd call up Lee and ask them what they would suggest. What if they already say we have
Maybe they.
solved that problem already for
Maybe they
you?
have a facility, yeah.
Exactly.
What about a tent here? And if we do it when it's still warm enough, or if we can get it together fast enough, a tent outside, or is that just not a good idea?
I wasn't laughing at the 10. I was laughing at, can we get it done soon enough?
Yeah, all right, well,
I think you're gonna have more involvement if you have it locally.
Yeah, for
When you
sure.
start asking people to drive to a, let's say in town or something like that, I think you're gonna lose them. But if it's to the school or the casino or wherever you decide,
Central.
central, yeah.
yeah. Which those limits our options, which is, I believe Cheryl was the one that had mentioned to me that a tent, would be cheap and we could put it out back and then we don't have to worry about the janitorial and all of that stuff. And that maybe the fire
Tent,
chief would
just
help.
So you know, a
set it
tent
up.
isn't that cheap.
It's gonna be more money than getting rid of.
Just so you know, a
Oh,
tent,
okay.
We
I
a
don't know.
tent is
We
gonna
have a
be,
huge tent for free
Oh, you do?
Oh,
How do
that,
we-
that WASA owns. The
Oh,
Emergency
see.
Services
oh,
Auxiliary.
maybe that's
owns
what
it.
she was talking about then, because she said the chief would help put it up and probably have the crew come and do it or something.
Size?
It's pretty good size.
It's
We used
huge.
it
If
out
you've
back
ever been to
before.
the, yeah, it's been used out here before. It's huge.
You know what? Go ahead, excuse me.
It's like as big as this room.
Oh, that's an idea too.
be easy,
Yeah,
just
yeah,
go from
yeah,
the
I
fire
think
department
on
right
this, since
across the
you're doing
street.
A wide open thing.
One thing
I
I'm
think that
thinking
if
is,
you're doing the tent, you're gonna have a problem with your people,
Electronics.
your electronics, your
Oh,
stuff.
Got boards to put up if you've got easel.
and it's weather related or weather sensitive, so I think if you kept it at the school or the casino or in a building, if it's a rainy day, people may say, I'm not gonna go. Where if they can go inside of a building, I think you'd have more,
Well, I think before
participation.
you pick a location, you need to get a hold of the vendor and ask them what they're providing and what they're not. Because what if there's some stuff they're providing that we don't know?
It's true.
So basically, you're thinking,
Unless you can think of somewhere else you can put 100 people in this community.
I think you should check with the other school too. Woodland.
Yeah, that'd work too.
Just went to a wedding at Gready's, right? In the end of,
Water.
on the road. Yeah. Is it- The last name is? It was very nice.
You're a farmer, check with the rest of the farmers. Denise.
I guess I say, it's still on. hold, I think.
Yeah, who's gonna raise their hand for that one? That part I'll let you use.
Yeah.
A short-term rental.
The survey returns late that we're not including, if we could send them back a thank you note and the reason
Oh,
we're
good
not
idea.
including them.
But I might not know who they
You might not
are.
know who they are.
There's no return. Publicly right now. Thank you very much.
Well, back to the barn idea. It's been a while since I've been down there, but is there anything at the Samuels farm that would be big enough?
That's what I was thinking.
There you go. That'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool. Could somebody reach out to them?
So,
Or
so
maybe
you
the
guys will,
Sens?
What is that?
Samuel's
The
farm,
Sens, Samuel's barn, maybe the
Samuel.
Sens?
they're off. I don't. know
They're
if
off
they do.
bracket.
Yeah, I don't-
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, we want to be standing around the cattle barn.
yeah.
They have a
That would
large
be, yeah, that would be Acme, wouldn't it?
building there.
It's not all Acme. You go halfway down that road.
What?
What
Whitewater
else? Do you guys
Township
have
goes
anything?
halfway
They
down
have
that
really
road.
Do you
quite a
guys have anything
size-
else for the ROS to talk about?
They have a large building
Okay.
there.
In that meeting, we put up a list of places we wanted to visit.
Perfect. Okay. Can you think of anything else for ROS, Randy? Any questions for the ROS or anything about it from the rest of the PC?
One more thought. What is
You're
the
not allowed.
Just kidding. What, somebody gotta know this, because I can't figure it out. What is the building? There's a place called, across from McGee's called Williamsburg something. It's a brown building. There's a white building behind there. What is that?
Kitchen.
It's a kitchen, but do they have?
Well,
Oh,
that
Catering
building
place.
back in the woods, they've had some events. Is that what you're talking about? That
Yeah.
building back way behind in the woods there?
Yeah, and one of them got vandalized, so I don't know if it's usable anymore. Well, the Highline one, their building's probably not big enough for a
We
100
can come up
people.
with a list at our meeting.
Okay. Good suggestions, though. I thought of things, you guys thought of things I hadn't even, directions I hadn't even thought of. So it's cool. Okay, so I'm gonna move into 10D, which is the packet submission, what I submitted to the board. Just so that you guys are aware, it's mostly an FYI. Is there any questions on it? It's page 19 of the packet. Basically, I'm asking for clarification on practice. Their practice has been to approve all contracts and agreements and a purchase order, and it just, that whole thing we just talked
Did you
about.
put
I
best
wanted
practice?
to,
Are you putting
No.
best practice? You should throw
They-
that.
I
You need to throw
quoted-
that in there, best practice.
I quoted what they said in their board meeting on the 18th, which was practice. I asked them by the 22nd to, in writing, let me know so we could move forward appropriately and engage them properly with what services and contracts we receive. I also asked them, or they asked us at that meeting, they were asking that we would give them a forecast for the master plan. So I asked for permission to give that at their October meeting, which we also talked about here tonight. So we would hammer that out more and then give them a more forecasted. We just don't, we can't. I don't think we can quantify it quite yet.
Nice.
I
word.
included the RFP that was sent to the vendors and the 2 responses we had received. I asked that they were appoint or, find a replacement, appoint a replacement for Rod's departure as expeditiously as they could. And then I included our bylaws for them as for informational purposes. So I just wanted you to know that. And then I included the bylaws for us in this packet too, which are the finalized ones that we. Any questions on those 2 agenda items?
One question. Next meeting, can everybody look at number E in our bylaws? And I want everybody to give me a sheet. Just take this sheet that she gave you, and I want you to highlight what you have experience in. So we see what we're missing. Anybody got a problem with that? No, because I don't know everything about all you guys, so. You know, if
Well,
you know something
I
about
mean,
agriculture.
we're doing really good on time right now. You guys want to just real quick tell us what you have in experience in or list them? Would that work?
So I need something because you know what I'm gonna hear? You don't have anybody on your committee that's a farmer. Yeah, we do.
So who's a farmer here?
Mike.
I've worked in the farming community for a long time and had a small little patch of my own that I claim as a farm.
So
If anybody else-
agricultural covered. Natural resources and environmental.
Spent a lot of time in the woods,
I got the- I got the environmental part.
on the river.
That's what deer season is, right?
That's right.
Recreation, I'll take that one.
Yeah, we know you will. And you could fit under natural resources and environmental, couldn't you?
Yeah, it's in the oil field for.
Okay.
I'm the
So
waterfront.
is there anything here that you feel we don't have represented?
Commerce, do we have anybody at commerce,
Commerce, that's business,
industry, commerce,
industry.
business owners?
I got commerce.
Oh, I got commerce too.
I've got waterfront.
We have building trades.
I work in the building trades.
Yeah, I guess it's water.
Yeah, that's waterfront.
Sure it is.
The only thing we don't have is a resident at large. But we don't have one that's, you know, what's not on here is non-resident. You can have a non-resident. Well, we used to have non-resident
because they don't, they just have.
Ex officio.
ex officio. Okay, I just needed clarification
think
that
we're all
we're not missing anything.
There. Another one checked off the list already. So pay for subcommittee. I'm gonna let you take that one, Heidi.
Yep, okay, when you guys form a subcommittee. They want to pay everyone. I think the problem was they want to pay everyone, but if somebody doesn't want to get paid, that person has the right not to be paid also. So they had a problem understanding why someone would not want to be paid. So you weren't here to ask to your face whether you wanted to be paid or not. I could take it out of the minutes, but I wanted to hear it from you. If you don't want to be paid, I guess you write them a letter that says, I'm doing this, you know,
Community service would be. the-
Community
would be
service,
the
something.
reply.
So I'm gonna
I think we
back
went
up.
through this. already.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
so-
did, but.
So I'm
I
gonna
could
give
not
a,
ask you, so I needed you to tell me.
Can
Before
I give
I
a-
could make that decision.
I'm gonna
Go.
give a summary real quick. So on the April 27th special subcommittee, I remember I came on in the public comment and asked you guys to make a motion if you wanted to be paid or not to be paid. 2 of you wanted to be paid, the rest declined payment for your services on that. And then it took me a minute because I forgot. And so finally in the July township board meeting, I included the minutes from the motion that was made for the 2 of you to get paid for those 2 meetings and asked them to pay you. And now some reason they don't understand what happened or why. So Heidi's just asking you to clarify that you both want to be paid for those 2 meetings and she'll take it back. And it's on their meeting next, their agenda next.
The reason I say yes is because that's when I bought all those books. I use that money to get supplies.
I'm just,
And I think-
I don't care,
No, I'm just saying
but
yes.
if somebody doesn't want to be paid, we have to respect those wishes.
Yeah.
And if somebody wants to be paid, we have to respect those wishes. I don't think it's their decision to say we're paying you whether you like it or not.
Well, I think Ron was saying that we was And you're gonna have to, we'll
Well,
have to double check, but Ron was saying that that was required to be paid. But anybody, you don't have to accept money. You can just say, I don't want it. I'm doing it as community service. End of discussion. It doesn't have to get any more complicated than that, that I don't want to be paid if I'm doing this as a public service. And you haven't made that statement, then you automatically get paid.
right, but they wanted to pay everybody regardless. They did not want to give you that option. And that's really not fair. Because some people
I mean, they can
don't,
give it back.
right,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, you don't cash the
Donate
check.
it,
Yeah.
donate it.
Please don't do that.
In
no,
one of
that
the-
screws up her.
Yeah,
Just,
just,
Listen, I know how much that screws her paperwork up,
Cool.
so if somebody doesn't want the fundage, respect it. I don't understand why it's so hard.
well, I think it would just tell them that nobody can force you to take money. So just say, no, thank you. I'm doing this community service.
Well, and they had another question because they couldn't figure out
Yeah.
what committee or what you guys were doing. That was the other problem.
No, there's somewhere in
Attached
this.
to the
I guess,
minutes.
they
What
need
they
to-
did.
I guess they need to look at the minutes. Look at
Some
the
of these-
minutes.
I have them right here. I didn't give them this.
Wait a
It's
minute.
ridiculous. I
Some
gave
of
them
these
the link to the
positions, you
minutes.
have to be paid according to state law. That's in the green book. And I don't know if it's for, you know,
Committee
the
members or
commission or
not.
something, but anyway, one of theirs that you must be paid. That's the law. Now,
He's right.
as far as these subcommittees, I don't know about that. Whether you have to be paid or not, but I know that it's in there somewhere in some of these, and I forget which ones it is, that the state law says you
I
have to
think
be
it's
paid.
this board. It's this board and
I think it's this commission's one of them.
it is, and I think the ZBA is the other one, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
For the subcommittees,
But, you know,
different.
subcommittees are, I don't know.
So I will go back and I'm going to explain to them what the meetings were about. Because apparently they had questions about that.
It was basically in a nutshell prep for the joint meeting that we had.
I tried to explain that.
basically, playing the whole, trying to rewrite the plans.
An ad hoc committee, is that another different
Correct.
than a subcommittee?
Correct.
So we're good on that one.
I'm sorry, you guys, but you know, nobody wants to read anything unless it's read to them, so.
So moving on to new business. The only thing I have listed here is we have an open seat on the PC. So this is my plea in the Open Meetings Act for anybody and everybody to apply, please. And that's it on that. So the next meeting is August 16th at 7 p.m. That's the special meeting. The next regular meeting will be September 6th.
Question on computers.
Go, should we do that after?
You got board comments somewhere?
Yeah, after public comment, I have PC discussion comments. Is that okay? All right.
You said 2 meetings, special
Yep,
meeting.
we have a special meeting
10,
August 16th.
August 10.
That's the ROS is August 10. 9 a.m. Special PC/ROS August 16th at 7 p.m. And the next regular meeting is September 6th at 7. I will send out I don't have a very big list here. I guess I could review it really quick so you guys can make sure I'm not missing anything.
Zoom in on the 10.
The 8:10 meeting, the 8:16 meeting.
I can
I've
do
jotted down for the 8:16 agenda. We'll talk about survey results, committee engagement, planning. The duty is going to be assigned to ROS members, anybody that's interested. A budget already spent versus what's encumbered and anything else related. I think I got it all for that 16th meeting. Lois is going to post on our PC page for us, looking for members or citizens to help on the ROS. We're going to do the motion and findings of fact for Leah. include the RFP and the budget information. Randy's gonna update the columns and Lois is gonna get us the dates.
Now I'm gonna add it to the agenda.
And Heidi's gonna add it to the agenda and Denise is gonna check with Networks Northwest on the status. And I'm going to request a joint township board PC meeting, November 9th at 7 PM. Did I get it all? All right. I can read my own writing. We're going good. Public comment. I'm gonna open it up to the hall first. None in the hall, so do we have any hands up on Zoom?
There's none.
I'll wait
How many
just a
people are
second.
still on Zoom?
Right. Including me, 6,
5. Without anybody.
5. And no hands are going up, so. Discussion comments, go ahead, what did you have?
The computer, so I usually bring my computer. So I can use my email and the document. Now I have this, so we weren't sure if this was something that's gonna be assigned to me or not, and I didn't even realize, I guess they do have computers for people here, so just.
Whose
one I
computer
want-
is that?
I don't know.
Lois, do you know whose computer that is?
I think that was the Alex Darrow computer.
Well, if it's already a PC computer, then you can do that. But if I'm gonna shadow you to do Zoom, I was gonna say, bring another computer and I'll run that so you can run your stuff, or I'll just put it on my tablet. I don't care. I'll bring another computer.
Well, if I'm here, I
But-
can run it. so
I know,
it's
but
not-
do you think you can participate in your ROS meeting as well, or do you want me to sit and do the Zoom? I don't care either.
Well,
way.
I'll do it for the ROS thing.
Okay, I just don't
It
want
doesn't
you.
Take nothing to do with it.
So is my understanding that we should have township issued computers, each of us. It's been quite a long process. When Kim left in January, I got hers,
Okay.
but that was the only reason I got one. And I saw in the township board packet some stuff about trying to get a motion for Al to get one.
Yes, and I don't need one. Rod, or excuse me, Keith is more important if that's the one that he keep it for the Zoom and.
Yeah, just
My
do
my
it.
question is this, I mean, do I have to have my own computer with us also, or can I? use
No.
No,
my-
no, you can use that
can
one
use
right
this as
now.
my computer
Yeah.
too?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
Yep, I
Let's
would.
just find out did he go through a sign in and sign out process?
Yeah, because I know I had to sign
Maybe
it.
initial it, but he said
Yeah.
he didn't know if this was something that was gonna be assigned to me or not. So I
Okay,
don't
it's
know who makes
assigned
that
to you. I
decision,
just
but-
assigned it to you, and I'll send the email to.
If this
the
is Zoom
clerk.
computer,
I would say
Well, he just made it.
it was as simple as initialing for me too on a form. So,
Okay, then
yeah.
we're good.
Very
We're done.
good.
Problem solved. Awesome. But I just wanted to let you know that if you can't participate and do two things at once, I will sit there.
Any other PC discussions or comments? Al, Mike, Carl, Keith, Heidi? Continuing education, I didn't have anything for this month, but anybody have any updates or classes they've taken or knowledge they've learned they want to share? Wow. I'm going to adjourn this meeting at 8:58 PM and that is a record. Yeah, look at us go. Thank you, all of you on Zoom.
Lois, here's your pen.
I would think